All right. Next, we just went through a whole introduction, and let's go to the agenda. So everybody got the latest Bearer facts. If you're on our mailing list, if you're not on our mailing list, see Ed during a break or at the end of the meeting, and we'll make sure that you get all of our spam. Treasurer, Mr. Treasurer, are those numbers still real?
First number is still good, $5,374.97, but we are up to 64 members.
64 members, and actually, it occurs to me, did you grab the folder in the back? Because I think we have some new members that want to join.
Oh, no.
All right, so we'll do that. We'll take a,
Yep.
I'll take a quick jaunt in the back and grab that. All right, nice size club. Some old business. So our Doug's Fish Fry in September, that happened the day after our previous meeting. We made the $4,000 limit, and so which means that we're getting actually, yeah, we're getting a little around $400 back from them. So we'll see that probably in November or early December. Yeah.
Is there another fish fry coming up?
Not.
There'll be another fish fry in April of 2025. We met the thresholds. We're at the 8% part, just under 5,000 we made.
Right.
So it was, yeah, we'll be getting a check around 360, 370, right around there.
Yeah.
Close to 4.
All right.
But there's another fish fry in April, you're saying?
April. Yeah.
April
So
and September.
we'll do two. Last year we tried one on Black Friday, and that turned out to be not particularly.
Okay.
Yeah, it was cold, and then we didn't make the minimum amount, so it was 2 strikes and we're out in this case.
I think.
So.
Like
yesterday's weather.
So, but anyway, we'll
April and September.
at the last meeting, we had our auction, and I couldn't remember when Joe comes back, he can give us the number. I think it was around $700 that the club took in. Then the following Saturday, we had the 50th anniversary of the Copernic Observatory. Sorry, Joe, do you remember how, I was looking, you told me how much the auction brought in. It was like 770 or something?
Yes.
Something in that, yeah, something in north of $700. So
707.
707, all right. And it cleaned out the shack, or at least did a good job of that. So thank you. But this year is the 50th anniversary of Copernic Observatory, and the Copernic Observatory's ham radio station K2ZRO had a special event station. We had 4 or 5 people helping us out. We had about 67 contacts, and had a number of QSL requests that I've already sent out. Then just a week and a half ago, Copernic had a 50th anniversary gala down at the Doubletree Hotel, and Gary Dewey came down with his slow scan TV gear that we use when we send it up on the high altitude balloon, and we also had an FT 740, I mean 710 going. Although I think the Doubletree is a giant Faraday cage, because we heard nothing out of that. But so thank you, Gary, for coming down for that, and Nick for helping out as well. Moving on to continuing some old business. There was some talk about trying to get name badges, with your call sign on it and your name and bearer. Yeah. And so Greg Shepard did some footwork on this, and I also added to that. I'm going to move down here. What you saw was there's ham badgers that has a sort of a somewhat of a generic badge like that. The badge itself is like $12, and then another, depending on the pin that you're gonna, whether you have a pin or a magnet in the back, it could be an additional charge on top of that. I end up actually ordering my badges for Copernic through a place called namebadge.com. And so, like, here's like two different versions of it, one with the gold, background with Greg's call sign on it and our Barrel logo. And then here's one with my call sign on it. And, our thought is that, I mean, although the gold is nice, the problem is that the logo sort of sticks out. You know, it looks like it's sort of pasted on. And so our thought is that, also, if we order, you know, in the next week or two, we can get these badges. And they have a bunch of different, fastening types, but, there's also, additional $1.50 for shipping and everything, but, so we're gonna charge $12 per badge. And I'm gonna send out a Google survey that I need to get a response back a week from today. So we'll send it out to the entire group and then we'll do just a mass order, with, again, your call sign, and, the Barrel logo and your name. And, so that'll go out in a survey in the next day or so. So it just seems of the options that were out there, this one seemed to, allow us to, put our logo on there, nicely, and then we've got various options. You can have either the magnetic, badge if you have or are planning on getting a pacemaker, you don't want to use the magnetic one. But they have a swivel clip, military post if you're gonna like put it permanently on something, which you probably aren't gonna do it, or a pin fastener, so.
How does it look like?
Further down.
No, I mean, military cop.
These two little posts that come in the back,
Yeah,
Um,
they've got little clips behind the pins.
right?
From my scouting experience, they have a tendency to fall off and at least expect it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So our suggestion is that you either go with the magnetic, or the pin fastener. But we're gonna just make them all, $12 makes it easier, and thought it's nice,
What is
good quality, what?
What is the magnetic pin has that the one with the pin doesn't have?
Yeah, scroll up this way, you can show them.
So magnetic pin basically has got a strip on the back of the badge, and then you have a separate piece that has the magnets on it. That, so you would put it on,
Hey, Joe,
yeah,
there's one right there.
yeah.
Oh, oh, I see. That's cool.
So basically, if you have a shirt or something thin enough, sweatshirt, it may or may not hold.
Okay.
Okay, something
Right.
thick. But I know from a scout uniform, that works.
So this would be like the magnetic one. And
The pin.
this would be something along the lines of the pin one, although,
I think. you can-
so, anyway, thanks for it. So we'll be, sending out a survey in the next day or two. A week from today, we'll ask for the responses. And, again, you'll be on the hook for the $12.
Is there a combination of magnetic and pin?
No,
Okay.
so,
Yeah, there is. Order 2 badges.
yeah. There you go. Yeah, you can do that. I also want to welcome, Jim White, KF2WJ, to the meeting. Glad you could join us, Jim. All right, so,
Thanks, Drew.
all right, we'll go back to the agenda. So I think that's all I had for old business. Is there any other old business that I missed? People could think of? All right, moving on to new business. Now that we've got these two new rigs, we found that the Apache 4800 case works very, very nice with it. We can put the rig in, the switching power supply, microphone, cables, and all that in sort of a nice go box. And so we're going to sort of on the hunt for when Harbor Freight does another one of their sales. We're going to jump on that, and it'll be in the $50-$60 range.
You need a motion?
But no, because the board can do anything under $100. So We're just more of a.
There's
just
two
mid-
waiting, there's two orange ones waiting down there on the shelf, but
Are
they're
there?
not special yet.
Ah, okay. We just wait for the special to come around.
You want orange, you can find them?
Yep. Well, we already have one orange case, so we figured we would get the other one as an orange case as well. Other than that, I don't know if there's any other, well, actually, let's, it occurs to me, I didn't, talk about, I should add in here the New York State QSO party. How about if I do
Hey,
it?
Drew, one
Yeah.
thing before that, if I may mention, and I know I asked the board members and nobody's told me, but, next month is our election of officers.
Right,
So,
right, actually, I have that down here.
Oh, you do?
Board
Okay.
election in
Oh,
November,
all right.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, so this Friday from, it opens up at 10 a.m. and it closes at 10 p.m. is the New York State QSO party. So we'll be, the building is reserved for us to be able to use it. And I guess we're gonna be, actually, Steve came up, yesterday and we got, 5 different, our 4 laptops and one of the PCs in the computer lab, set up and networked, so that all seemed to work fine. And, so if you're in a position to come up, would love to have you join us.
It's Saturday, not Friday.
I'm sorry, Saturday.
Come
yes.
Friday though, but
Yeah,
come back Saturday.
I can come back today. We'll talk about Friday in a minute.
Stay for the week.
So anyway, last year, we actually won for the state, of the multi low power.
Yeah.
We have a nice plaque for that, so no pressure, but, we're going to, it'd be another, great opportunity, and, I think especially for any of the newer hams, it's a great opportunity to be on sort of the receiving side of a pilot. And, so, it's always a lot of fun. Yeah.
So if I could say as a reminder, it's a great opportunity to pair up, so like maybe one person operate, the other person logging, switch back and forth. It's sideband CW, digital, no FT8. So we could potentially do RIDI or something, but again, a great opportunity to team up.
We just need to know have somebody who actually knows how to do RIDI,
Right.
which I think we are devoid of at this point, but,
How about like a mentor and someone who is mentee?
well, yeah, so, the thing that, especially if you're sort of new to all this, coming up and pairing up with a more experienced operator to sort of see how that, how that plays, and then you swap. So that, initially you start logging onto the system, but then swapping over, and again, having a woman's voice adds at least 3 dB to your signal. So,
Yeah.
ask Diane.
I had a new person on her text.
Yeah. So,
Diane is available to rent,
Okay, right.
Rented.
Okay.
I could bring the helium tank, so we can just take hits of helium and then raise our voices, but,
That would be fun.
yeah, for a while until,
Yeah.
Women got over.
Or you put it on the voice caller, right? You can put it on
What?
the voice key.
oh yeah, that's right,
And then-
there are those
and then-
voice, you're right, Gary, that's right, we got
Yeah,
technology
and-
now that can shift your voice around, so,
AI.
Yeah.
I've answered a call like that and gotten a different voice on the other end. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Well, I think sometimes what happens there, like you'll hear somebody calling CQ, and then it's a completely different voice that actually responds, and what's most likely going on there is somebody has like a voice keyer
Yeah.
that said, is just doing all the CQ, and if it's something deviating from a 5.9 West New York, and, or whatever, then the person would then talk to you live. Anyway, so, so that is this Saturday, so setup will be probably about 8:30 or 9 o'clock here. And we'll do our sort of our standard setup and take it from there. So the New York State QSO party is then. Other things coming up, right, as we said, the board of, the election for the board, for the board and the officers will be happening at our next meeting. Current board members are myself as president, Ed, N2ENG is the vice president, NE2W is our secretary, And I always forget your call, Joe, WB2. SGW is our treasurer. Additional board directors are Ford, AB2HS, Gary, AB2GD, Paula, KD2
SLJ.
FLJ, and then Rick, NN2K. So if anybody's interested in running for either an office or a board seat, please let us know, because right now all of the current officers and directors indicated they would be willing to stay on, but if somebody wants to put their name forward, then we need to actually have a real election. Right, we're a paper ballot kind of a thing. So we just need to know that so we can prep for that. What else? Then the other thing coming down the pike is the Skywarn Recognition Day in early December. And initially I think the last meeting I had mentioned that there was a group out of Syracuse that has expressed some interest in participating in that. I've since talked to their board president, and they thought that they could just basically operate WX2BGM out of their station in Syracuse and just sort of, add in. I don't believe I think you can't do that. It has to be, if you're going to use the WX2BGM call sign, you have to be at the National Weather Service in Binghamton. Now, anyway, so that may not be an issue, but I think we may still look at bringing our quadplexer down and actually possibly running 2 stations, so we could actually have multiple bands operating at the same time. And the National Weather Service last year was just extraordinarily hospitable. They had some food out. They had a whole bunch of quarters. They said, if you want a soda, take 2 quarters and take it over to the machine. So, I mean,
It was so cool. It was fun.
anyway, so that's coming up, and we have a little bit of time to prep for that. We will probably go and do a test run of the quadplexer and setting up so we know that works, and same thing with logging as well. Trying to think, is there any other new business people? Joe's got something?
I have 3 new members.
Oh, 3, thank you. Yeah, so can you bring those up? We've got to vote on new members. Thank you, Joe. Okay, we have Jim Ryder, WB7 PHM. That's Jim right there. All in favor of Jim joining us? All right, welcome. All right. Tom Tully, KE2 DSS is not here, I guess. It's gonna be a family membership, and they actually applied back in September, so I think he sent the money in, right?
Yeah, he mailed it.
Yep. All in favor of Tom joining us? All right. And then finally, Steve DeMarco, KE2 EEG. Okay. New membership, all in favor?
No Steves, yay. No Steves.
Why we do this, I have no idea. But
It's in the Constitution.
yeah, it's in the contract, yeah. That's where we've always done it, so that's where we're gonna continue to do it. All right. Well, I guess at this point, I'm sorry, Ed.
Ed Russo sent me a thing about the clothing drive.
Oh, right.
We've got a great selection of clothing available with the Bear logo on it, very reasonably priced, high quality, local vendor. It's in the Verifax,
All right.
and there's a link in the Verifax to order directly from the company in Owego that's taking care of this for us.
Can we
Yeah.
have it in yellow?
No,
But it's whatever, if you go to the website, they'll give you the options, because you can't necessarily get all various colors of the particular things that they've got. So,
there's 8 different things, and that's what you got. Put your size, your call sign. And the best part, if you want it at the next meeting, November, there's no shipping charge. Ed Russo pick them up and they'll
Right.
be here for you to pick up. You won't have to have them shipped.
right.
This year, you can't pick them up in Owego. They're not allowing that.
All right. Okay. All right. So, any other new business people want to bring up? All right, well, good. We've moved along quite nicely. One of the things, again, I think a club is really meant to be about is helping people understand more about, what the hobby is and what things you can do. And one of our members, Nick Gretzinger, is really dove into Summits on the Air and has put together a great presentation here. So if you give me a second here, I'm gonna get out of this. I've got to get his presentation up, but I need to also get into presentation mode. Okay.
That's a nice one.
And so now we are going to,
Is that your front lawn? Oh, wow.
The blue one.
all right, one thing I need to do is share that. The people in there.
I like that.
Yeah, that's probably.
They just said that about golf. It's like a nice day,
Good one, spoiled, yeah.
Good day spoiled. That's awesome.
Is this picture?
All right, so those on the live stream, can you guys see the full presentation?
Today's?
Yep.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So Nick, if you wanna come on up and join us and
Most of it was there, yes.
you can,
Oh, it's going to.
Oh, it's today.
He was,
you want, you can.
this year, this month.
This
should have heard.
Advance with a space bar.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I want you to do that.
That's cool.
Nope, that's not working
either.
Oh. I'm not sure where it was.
Okay.
Or way off.
I can't go backwards, but that's okay.
No, you can, should be able to.
That's a nice picture.
Oh,
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That looks like a-
Thanks, Drew. Sure. Again, my name's Nick Retzinger, WN2G. And about 2 years ago, I was looking for a new way to do ham radio. I found this program called Summits on the Air. Been a hiker my whole life, and I've been diving into it ever since. So okay, so I'm just going to briefly get into what is SOTA, what SOTA is all about, some of the general rules, and then some of the lessons I've learned along the way. And I'm going to go kind of fast. So if you have a question, don't wait till the end. Just shout it out.
Well, how about telling us about yourself? Where are you from?
Okay, yeah, sure. I'm from Rochester initially, moved here, working IBM and then Lockheed Martin in Owego about 35 years ago. Retired with my wife Cindy about 7 years ago. And I've been a ham for about 12 years. And after a couple of years, I kind of got tired of the novelty of doing ham radio, just sitting in my ham shack, wore off. Actually got separated from a hiking group. I wouldn't say lost, just separated. And a normal person would have bought a spot or something, made sure he had a map or something. But I thought, it might be a good idea to have ham radio with me while I'm hiking. And I found out about Summits on the Air, and the rest is history.
Did that group ever find their way or?
Yeah, we connected eventually. Yeah.
You did, but them.
Yeah. Okay, so what is Summits on the Air? It's a program that encourages ham radio portable operation from.
I'm just gonna get rid of the
Yeah.
there we go.
All right.
Sorry. Back to you here.
Okay. So Summits on the Air, SOTA, is a program that encourages portable ham operation from a hill or a mountaintop. And the idea is you get to a summit, a designated summit, and you make contacts with anybody, okay? Or you're somebody from your just sitting in your ham shack, and you're making a contact with someone on a SOTA summit. And so as I alluded to, there's two ways to do SOTA. Again, the first is an activator. So again, you're the person that drives or hikes to a summit. Unlike POTA, and by the way, so who's done POTA activation at least once? Okay, quite a few of you. How many people have at least done one SOTA activation? All right, great. Okay, hopefully my goal here is to get at least a couple of you.
I'd like to
doing SOTA.
combine the,
Yeah.
those.
Yeah. So again, the first way to do something on the air is as an activator. So you're the person actually driving or hiking to the summit, setting up your portable rig, making 4 contacts.
What is it written on the bottom? Log them on something?
Yeah, so just a little, yeah, so just if you're really interested, once you're done doing the activation on the summit, making the contacts, you go afterwards, there's a website where you actually log your contacts.
So,
Yeah.
say 4 contacts, like POTA's 10.
Yeah.
That's why I'm kind of.
Only four, yeah. And that's 4 for points. You only have to make 1 contact to be considered an activation. And I'll get into some details on that in later slides.
What's the word log them on? Because this
Oh,
screen
log.
is.
Yeah, log them. So you just don't make the contacts. To make it fun, you put them in a log. And
Everybody can see.
oh yeah, oh sorry, yep. All right. I don't see that on my screen.
Yeah, I wonder why I can't get rid
Oh,
of it.
on SOTA.
Upper right is fine. Yeah.
That's where you can see all the.
It's just usually pictures there in the upper right.
SOTA
Okay,
does
thanks,
it.
Rue. Yeah, so you go on to the SOTA website and you log them. Okay, so that's what an activator does. The other way is as a chaser. And a chaser is somebody that sits in the comfort of their ham shack and contacts people on the summit. And again, you log it to get points, and you can find who's on a summit by going to SOTA Watch, the SOTA Watch website, and you look for spots. So few facts about summits on the air, the program. Started back about in 2002 in the UK, and it's been growing ever since. Currently has over 24,000 participants and 7,000 and over 7,000 in the US and growing. There's also 195 associations that have SOTA summits set up with over 100,000 summits worldwide. And the big picture on lower left shows the US. Each one of those green or orange or red dots is a SOTA summit. So you can't, out west, you can't in the mountainous area, you can't, it looks like just all dots.
What defines some?
That's a good question. That's the next slide. Yep. So, and the insert on the lower right is kind of a blow up of Binghamton area. So, again, each one of those dots is a SOTA summit, and all those, there's over 100 SOTA summits that are an easy day trip right from here. So you can go out to Finger Lakes, Catskills, Pennsylvania, do a summit, or I've done as many as I think 4 or 5 in a day, just driving from one to the other, and then home by dinner. Oh, and one thing I want to point out on the map that so all those highlighted yellow areas, okay, the mouse doesn't show up, but you kind of see these kind of fuzzy yellow things. Those are people that have made an alert that they're going to do a SOTA activation on that particular mountain. And then in the insert, if you see a kind of a fuzzy green, bigger green dot, that's someone actually on a summit doing an activation. Questions? Okay, so yeah, question, what's a SOTA summit, right? You just can't go up some hill like Round Top and start activating, right?
We're a summit here.
There's but it's not a SOTA summit, unfortunately, yeah. So not every hill is a SOTA summit. You can't just go up to the top of a hill and start activating. first of all, as a general rule, and there are some exceptions, the hill has got to have 200 meters of prominence, which means it goes down at least 200 meters in every direction before it starts going up to the next higher hill. Okay, so kind of the example is the big hill on the right there in the yellow hill picture. That's a SOTA, biggest hill in the area. That's a SOTA summit. And the one in the middle is not a SOTA summit because it only goes down 50 meters before it starts going up to a higher hill. But then the hill even lower on the left, that potentially is another SOTA summit, okay? So, but you don't have to worry about that because on top of all that, it really has to be a designated SOTA summit. So there are probably even some hills or summits that have that prominence rule. They meet that prominence rule. They're just not mapped out. So it must be a designated SOTA summit, like the example I've got down below. Whiskey 2 stroke Gulf Charlie 115. It's got to have a SOTA summit reference designator. And that designator is broken down into 3 bits of information. Is first the W2 or the number before the stroke or slash. That's the association. So Whiskey 2 is New York and New Jersey. And then the 2 letters after, each association is broken down into 1 or more regions. The W2 has about 5 regions: Adirondacks, Catskills, New Jersey, and so on. So it kind of gives you a general area where that summit is. And then the last 3 numbers is the specific summit. So in this case, 115 would be Red Hill in the Catskills. So you know exactly what you're talking about. Okay. So rules, there's a whole bunch of rules, and there's a rule manual for every association called an ARM. But you only have to keep a couple of top level rules in mind if you're interested in doing an activation. Is you can activate anywhere within what they call an activation zone, which is 25 meters vertically from the summit. So not horizontally, but vertically. So if you have a really broad summit, imagine this, if this was a SOTA summit right here, you can go half a mile down the road one way or the other, maybe east more, before you drop about 82 feet vertical. So you could activate right from here, or you could go down to the next intersection, probably still be in the activation zone. Okay, so it gives you some latitude to find maybe a spot out of the wind, maybe a spot with a picnic table or something where you can activate, get away from people. So there's an activation zone that you have to activate in. Like the other thing is, unlike POTA, you only need 4 contacts to get points, and each SOTA summit is anywhere between 1 and 10 points, depending on elevation, not how difficult it is. So you drive up to the top of Whiteface or Mount Washington, get out of the car, you get 10 points, right? Or you could do the nastiest bushwhack you've ever seen and get 1 point, right? So 4 contacts per point, but you only need 1 contact to log it and say, I activated that summit, which Ford helped me out with on Greek Peak last winter. The only guy I contacted, but I claimed it. The other thing is you must walk to your final activation spot. Now, how far you walk is kind of a gray area with some people, but is generally accepted that you just can't operate from your car. With POTA, you can sit in your car in the rain and operate. With SOTA, you can't use your car for powering your rig. Can't use it for getting out of the weather or any other convenience. You don't have to be far from your car, and all you got to do is park. If the activation zone is in the parking lot, just park your car, walk 100 feet to a picnic table or some nice spot and set up right there.
Could you use your car's battery?
You cannot, you can't use any part of the car.
Or
Yep.
antenna, you couldn't even use the antenna mounted on the car.
No, yeah, you can't use your car for any purpose. Yep.
And we're saying that's why code is 10, because you could sit in the car, whereas here it's 1 or 4. It's
Yeah,
more challenging.
it is a little more challenging. Yeah.
I will admit, my SOTAs were all drive-up sites, but I was out of the car.
Yeah, and I, for drive ups, I go 100 feet. And, and there are a couple of purists that say you gotta go the last mile or something. Everyone's good with just 100 feet is fine. And again, so you can't use your car's battery, you can't use any part of your car for any reason, except getting your stuff close to the activation zone. And furthermore, the power has to be from specifically a battery or a solar panel. I guess some people use a solar panel just for the fun of it. No generators, no long extension cords, a lot of SOTA summits, there's a building, like there could be a shelter or some of the building with power. Can't use that power. Got to be a battery or a solar panel. And then finally, your contacts have to be on simplex. You can't use a repeater. But you can use a repeater to spot and say, I'm on such and such summit. Please get on simplex and see if you can get a hold of me that way.
It was in on 5.2 that we talked, or was that on HF?
5.2.
5.2,
Yep.
that's what I thought.
And then finally, most SOTA summits are on public land, but some are private land. And so you got to have legal access, ask permission, or just stick to public lands. Okay, so why do it, right? First of all, the propagation is great. Usually I can get Europe with 10 watts single sideband. And even my HT, on several occasions, I've reached out to over 100 miles with the HT. If you like hiking, this gives it a little extra, goal to shoot for, right? There's badges and awards that are given out as you go through the, continue on with the program. We'll get into some of those details on the next slide. And actually quite a few summits are drive-ups. In fact, there's at least a dozen SOTA summits, 1 hour drive from here, where you can park your car within the activation zone. So the very top, again, may not be, at the parking lot. It might be a quarter mile away or something, but you can park in the activation zone and walk 100 feet from your car and set up and do that. Great camaraderie. So specifically, there are a number of SOTA clubs in the US. If you set up, if you get into it, there's a Northeast SOTA, so Pennsylvania, New York, New England, Canada, Eastern Canada. This is Northeast SOTA group. They have 2 campouts a year, spring one in the Catskills, and I just went to the fall one in the Adirondacks last weekend. So I'll hang out at campground, go activate something, and then grab dinner in town in the evening. So it's really fun. And if hiking is not your thing, you can always be a chaser. A lot of people are strictly chasers, and they can collect all the same badges and awards and points that activators do. It's a lot of fun. And lastly, it's free. So you can get on that website, SOTA, probably not SOTA data, but the SOTA website, register, put in your call sign, it's all free. And then you're set up for data entry of either activating or chasing. Okay, badges and awards. So as you either chase or activate, you're awarded badges, and they're just virtual badges that you have on your page. These are my badges. If you do just even one activation, you'll probably get at least 3 badges, which is based on your what band you're using, what mode you're using, and where you did the activation. So like I started back in September of 22, got 1 activation, and I got 3 badges. And I don't know how many badges. There's no list, a definitive list of badges. You gotta go with someone that has been doing this for 10 years. You see all the badges they have, and you can kind of get an idea what's going on. A lot of them are kind of clever. So if you activate a summit that ends in 007 bond, right? You get a bond badge. So you activate one 007 summit, you get the Lazenby badge there, upper left. So Lazenby did 1 Bond movie, 1 SOTA summit, you get the Lazenby badge. You activate another 007 summit, you get the Dalton badge. You did 2, 4 for Brosnan and so on. So the other one is force sensitive. So you go out and activate on May 4th. May the 4th be with you if you're a Star Wars fan. You get a Star Wars or a May 4th, May the 4th be with you kind of badge. First year you get it, you get force sensitive. And then as you can activate on subsequent years on May 4th, you get a Padawan or a Jedi badge. So there's a lot of clever stuff. Ford, you helped me get the Frood badge, 3rd row, kind of in the middle. Now, a summit that ends in 042. If you know Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, it'll all make sense to you. Didn't even know I was going to get that badge. Didn't get any points. Ford was my only contact that day, but I got the badge. And the big one, the big goal that when you start out is to get Mountain Goat. So that's 1,000 points. Takes a while. The most any summit is well, generally 10 points. There's a winter bonus, but you're talking at least 100 summits that you got to climb, right? The 10 pointers tend to be harder hikes. Okay, so how do you choose a summit? I like to go to the SOTA Atlas website. It's got the website address right there. It works just like Google Maps. You can zoom and scroll wherever you want. Again, each one of those green or orange or red dots is a SOTA summit. You can zoom in. It even has all the roads. It even has most of the trails. You can zoom in enough to see if there's a trail or not a trail or what. Once you select the summit that looks appealing, you can actually click on that dot and it'll open up on the website, give you some information about it, shows you how many points it is, how high it is, how many activations it has. And if you click that more button, a whole bunch of information pops up on it. Previous activators have left notes. They'll say, oh, it's really dense and there's no way to set up an antenna there, or there's plenty of places to hang, throw an antenna over a tree branch. A lot of information that'll help you if you go and try to activate it. There's another website that has a map of SOTA summits. I kind of don't like this one as much or don't use it as much, but it's got different information to help you select potential candidates. Yes.
What countries, like you mentioned, the US and Europe, is African countries or?
Africa has only South Africa, and is it the country just northeast of there? I think it's Mozambique, Zimbabwe. That's it for Africa. You can get an Africa badge by visiting one of the islands that Spain or Portugal owns off the Moroccan coast. But
Australia, Japan.
Australia is a big country, New Zealand. So the big countries are US, Canada, a couple of Brazil, in South America, Brazil and Argentina that's about it. Africa, I mentioned South Africa and Zimbabwe. Europe, all of Europe,
Oh, yeah.
Japan is big into it, Australia, New Zealand,
Antarctica?
pardon?
Scandinavia?
Yep, yeah, all the Scandinavian countries, pretty much every European country has it. I can't think of one that doesn't.
Antarctica?
Antarctica, no.
You don't have the elevation.
Like Japan, China, Russia.
China, no. Russia, yes. Yeah.
I just went to SOTA, SOTA Atlas, and I just clicked on Sugarloaf Mountain and go like last activation. 26th of January, 2024, WN2G.
Yeah,
See a lot of those.
yeah.
Cause
Very
with the
cool.
sunspot cycle, now is an optimum time to,
It
hit those
it is
places.
an optimum
and you're
time.
on a hilltop.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better. Again, I have a 10-watt radio.
You know,
I can get Europe. I get Europe most of the times, and I'm not even trying.
and
They're
your-
contacting me.
Yeah, and your signal's loud there.
Yeah, the propagation's fantastic. And there's, and I admittedly, when I'm contacting Europe, and it's loud and clear, it's a 5.9 signal. Most of the work is done at the other end. There's some guy with a very strong radio and a Yagi antenna
Sure.
and rotating it towards me, so yeah.
Nick, what kind of antennas do you prefer, do you use?
Good question. I'll get into that in some detail.
My line.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it's very important. It's a very, antenna selection is very important. So now I'm gonna kind of tell you a lot of the tips and tricks I've learned along the way. The first thing is, if you want to do it, is research a summit. Again, I recommend SOTA Atlas, looking up. If you Google drive up summits, somebody put together a map. It's not perfect, but there's a lot of drive up summits. You can figure out what they are by just scanning SOTA Atlas. But obviously first you want to research the summit. You want to figure out where you can park. Is it a drive up? Do you have to hike? Some of the roads are maybe dirt roads, not the best dirt roads, seasonal use. So you want to know all that before you head out in the winter and find out that you're trying to go through a foot of snow that hasn't been plowed. The other thing is, how will I rig my antenna? I'll get into that too. It's are there tree branches that you can throw a wire antenna over, or is it such a dense jungle that there's no way you can set up an antenna by just throwing it? It's too dense. Or maybe it's a field with maybe just a fence post or just a picnic table in a grassy field. So you want to understand what kind of antenna you might want to bring, and whether there's cell service or APRS, or what other things are out there that might help you, like cell service on the summit. And you can figure out all the answers to all those questions by again going to SOTA Atlas, clicking on a summit, clicking on more. Most summits have some kind of an activator note saying, yeah, Verizon was good up there, or I didn't have, no cell service, or it's spotty, and it kind of gives you an idea of how to prepare for that. Hiker reviews, all sorts of things, open woods, plenty of branches to throw an antenna over, all that information. So you got to have, research that before you go. Although it's not necessary, it's a good idea to set an alert, which is an intention to activate. Just tells people that you're going to be out there. Usually you do it like the day before is standard, although you could do it, some people do it a year before. I don't know why, but maybe aspirational. But usually you do it the night before, a couple of nights before. You say, I'm going to be out on this summit. It gives people an opportunity to look for you. And then the biggest thing from again, procedural standpoint, not equipment, is to spot your activation. So when I first started doing summits on the air, I'd go up to a summit and I would just spin the dial looking for stations and get in a pile up, and it would take me an hour to get 4 contacts, and he was up there in the cold sitting there. There's a much more efficient way, is if you post a spot And it, on the right-hand side, you see, well, that's an alert. So if you post a spot, anyone on SOTA Watch can see that you are on the summit. You're activating the summit. It tells you the frequency you're on, the mode, the mode, CW, SSB, whatever, your call sign and all that other stuff. So they'll be out there looking for you.
Can someone else spot you?
You can have people spot you. Yes. So ideal case, you get up to a summit, perfect. You get 3 bars of 5G. You just get on SOTA Watch, or there's actually apps that are easier from a cell phone. In the lower right, there's a couple of screenshots of my favorite app, SOTA Go, it's called. So it's got a GPS tracker that green, it lights up when you're in the activation zone. It knows that. And then you can post a self spot right there from your phone. Really easy. It's a lot easier from your phone than going on SOTA Watch, the SOTA Watch website. It's just SOTA Go. And there's a couple of them that linked with SOTA Watch. So, I get on my screen, I find myself in the activation zone, like that green circle. I'm 27 feet from the summit, within the activation zone. I put in my band, my frequency, the summit, my call sign. It knows the summit because that's where I am. Got the GPS on the phone. Punch it, and within 5 seconds, I see the alert come up on SOTA Watch. Okay, and that's the ideal case if you get good cell service. But what if you don't have cell service? There are a couple of tricks available. So again, you can get on a repeater. You can have a buddy that says, hey, when I'm up there, I'm just gonna use a repeater. I don't have any cell service. There are a couple of summits where I couldn't get cell service. Most of them do, at least spotty. You can get cell service with it might be a little tough. You can get it. There are a couple where you can't. And in that case, maybe a buddy that via a repeater, hey, spot me on 14.263 sideband, and do it that way. If you use CW, there's a system called Reverse Beacon Network. You might be familiar with it. That scans for CW signals. There's a thing called RBN Whole that uses that technology. So there's like hundreds of stations, automated stations, and all they're doing is just scanning the bands for CW and a call sign, right? There's a system set up called RBN Whole that takes that data, compares it against the alerts, and goes, well, this guy said he was going to be on such and such summit right about now, right? And here he is calling CW. I'm going to set up an alert. So there have been a couple of cases where I don't have cell service. I just start calling CW. I set an alert, call CW, and within 30 seconds, I have a pileup. And so I know it worked, right? You can use APRS. I don't know, is everyone familiar with APRS? Okay. There's a system that somebody set up. It uses APRS technology to track you, and you can activate using APRS on your HT. And again, if you get a spot out there somehow or other, you're probably going to get a pileup. And again, when you're done activating, enter your contacts on SOTA data. It's really straightforward.
I've got a question.
Hmm?
So I probably made, I don't know, 10 contacts with people that they were both POTA and SOTA.
Yep.
And of course, I'm not registered for SOTA yet. But if I was, when I go in there, will it show the contacts that if they've actually uploaded the contacts that I've made with them? Will it show up when I register?
No, it doesn't work like that. So I think I'm not really familiar with POTA. Correct me if I'm misspeaking, but for POTA, you need a double check. Is that correct? Of some sort? Where you get points when someone
Well,
logs both ways?
usually the activator has to upload their log and, then the other person will get contact.
Ah, okay. Okay, yeah, so,
Will get credit for the contact.
with summits on the air, the activator and chaser independently enter their contact, and there's no cross check.
Okay.
So, you know, there could be someone there are some people that do summits on the air, they're doing it, they have a spot out, you're talking to them, and months go by and they never enter the data. And I thought it was just me, maybe, other people say the same thing. And you just go ahead and enter your chaser contact and you get the points.
So a chaser would not get credit passively. They would have to.
That's correct. That's the best way to say it. You have to,
Right.
there's no passive credit. You
For the
have to
chaser.
enter it yourself.
Correct.
Yeah.
But there's no time limit, so you can. go
There's no
back-
time,
you
there's
can
no
go
time
back
limit.
Whenever.
No.
Yeah.
Yep. So some of the gear lessons I've learned is if your activation involves a hike, keep it light. When I first started, I used my ICOM 7000, which is similar to that Yaesu 891 that you see on the picture on the left. By the time you add up that and the battery and the heavy wire for 100-watt operation, all that, it works fine. It worked fantastic. If it's a drive up summit, just got to walk 100 feet to a picnic bench. That's a great rig. It didn't work out so much when I was hiking. So, now the entire rig, radio, battery, antenna, everything, fits easily in here, right?
That's a KX2.
It's a KX2, yeah.
Recognize the back.
And there's even smaller rigs. So that's a KX2 on the right.
Yeah.
There's even smaller rigs out there. They might not be fully capable, but there are ones that people use for maybe they're backpacking. So they're doing a lot more walking than activating. Things like a mountain topper, it's the size of a deck of cards.
Some of the CW only rigs are tiny.
CW only, so I learned to keep it light. And now my backpack, if I'm going for just a day hike, it's less than 20 pounds. And that includes, a jacket and a sandwich and water and anything else I may need. Okay, so somebody asked a question about antenna. This is really important, right? Is you got to choose an antenna that's easy to set up, especially for your activation location. The easiest thing is if you walk in and there's a tree branches and you can just throw an end-fed antenna over. I started with an inverted V, okay? And I've gone to more like the end-fed. The inverted V works great, but you got to haul up the balun, and then you got to tie off 2 more points. So you got to haul, tie down, right? All those wires are, they get all jumbled up. Your coax has got to be as tall as the antenna. So you got, a big heavy coil of coax. I like the end feds better. My go-to antenna is that's a throw rope, a balun, right? What is it? A 49-to-1 balun and 30 feet of 26 gauge wire, right? And 26 gauge steel wire. There's a special wire, steel wire, copper plated. So,
Copper weld, they call it.
Okay, yeah, yep. It's great. It's got a 25-pound breaking strength, never broken a wire. It's done hundreds of activations. So it's a lot more convenient. And I got that end-fed, and I have an end-fed random wave that's pretty much the same thing. And that's what I use.
And it's a nice bright color that's not likely to be left behind.
Yes, that's a very good point. It sounds like.
That's the hard way.
Yeah, so I had a lot of black stuff. I lose it. Now everything, one of these winders, I just 3D printed. I think it was black. That is the spool I had in there. Yes,
Just wondered what band you usually operate on.
good question. I'll get into that on the next slide. Yep, that's a very good question. But yeah, this is my go-to ideal case. Throw that string and you don't need a heavy paracord. This is like 2 mil line, 3 mil line. Tied to a rock or a big stick, throw it over a branch, haul up the end-fed antenna, you're good to go. Might not always be possible though, right? The woods may be so dense, you can't find a single branch. It's just a maze there, or maybe everything's a pine tree. So you
Or there's
can't,
no trees.
huh?
Or there are no trees.
Or no trees, right? Or the tallest tree is this high, or you're in a field. So you can't do that then. So in those cases, I like to use a mast, right? If I can lean it against something or strap it to a telephone pole or even lean it against a small tree or something. I like to use a mast. So this is a collapsible mast. It's a 23, it's a 23 extent to 23 feet, which is all you need. I like to take it in again in the Catskills where the summits tend to be dense. Also in Scotland or England, they have these trig points they call when they did a survey of the island. So I just strap that with a strap, like a ratchet strap. And then it's vertical.
Used for counterpoise.
So for the end fed, and this actually works with a KX2, it works as a random wave, end fed random wave, pretty well. My real end fed random wave has got a 16-foot counterpoise. So there's the yellow wire. There's actually a 30-foot wire and a 16-foot wire.
I'm not for the vertical.
Oh, okay, good point. Right. So yes, the vertical. So the collapsible mast is great for if you don't have tree branches. And then if you don't have anything, like literally nothing, it's nothing but dirt, you might have to go with a tripod. So the image on the right is, if this is what you're getting, the question you're getting at. So when I have nothing to set up with, or I know I'm not going to have anything to set up with, a small tripod, 1 pound tripod, and a Electracraft AX1, I think AX1 antenna. And then it's got counterpoises that run out. So it's a vertical with some,
Like radials or?
yeah, just vertical radial counterpoises. Yeah. And the end fed half wave doesn't need any counterpoise. The ballon is on the ground. So the ballon is literally the size of a matchbox. As long as that's on the ground, that provides enough counterpoise. It matches the impedance at the end of the wire.
Yeah, because you got your coax laying around the ground, right?
Yep.
So there's your counter.
Yeah, it can't be, I guess, up in the air, or it can be, but it won't work as well. Yeah. And since you're operating 10 watts, the antenna efficiency is kind of more important, right? Than versus when you're doing 100 watts. Okay, so antenna selection, antenna setup is something you got to consider.
I noticed you had, in one of the pictures, you had, a loop there.
Yes, yep.
Magnetic loop. How did that work out for you?
I don't have one. So most of the pictures I just shamelessly stole from the internet. People do use them. Not a lot. But it's, maybe I guess might be a little heavy, but people do use them.
They're not very frequency agile, so they're
No.
very,
Yeah, they're,
you need to
real
adjust
high
it
Q.
every time you QS1.
Yep. So,
That
and
quill business, showing that little tripod, that's just very similar to like the Wolf River coil and some of those. that they have,
yes,
right?
yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and the key is, again, just the vertical with a loading coil and a tripod. Just imagine yourself in the middle of the field with nothing, right? No tables, no nothing. How you gonna get an antenna? Well, vertical on a tripod. Get into a little bit more in the next next slide with band selection, but 2-meter HT, just a warning. It's sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I'll get into more detail
Do you use a
on.
gain it, or
Pardon?
if you're gonna cover it for 2 meters, do you use a gain antenna or the rubber duck?
It depends. So I never go with just my 2-meter. Although there are times now as I kind of like figured out when 2-meter works and when it doesn't, I probably could always have an HF antenna or radio with me. Always bring the HT. I can usually get a contact or two, depending on where I am. If I'm literally in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of Wyoming, I may not get a single contact. I was doing a SOTA party with my buddies in Lake Placid last weekend, and all we did, it was just swap peaks all weekend and contact each other mostly on 2 meters.
Just with
Just with a rubber ducky,
rubber duck.
but that's a good, but a roll-up J-pole, elevated 10 or 15 feet off the ground, it will definitely help. Yep. I got a guy last weekend, 60 miles just with my whip antenna. So not the short rubber ducky,
Right.
but one about 18 inches, 60 miles. I'm sure he had a pretty good antenna on his part.
He was doing the lifting.
Yeah.
One of the earlier slides, I saw a VHF badge.
There is, yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
like for you doing?
Yeah, you just drive up to a summit, make a contact, you get a VHF badge. VHF, HF, UHF. There's microwave, I think there's even
Satellite?
microwave, huh?
Do you do any satellite?
No, but some people do. They say, I'm gonna be working as satellite,
Right.
That
would be the only kind of repeater that would be allowed?
Yes, that's a good,
Right.
yes, that repeater is allowed.
Okay.
Yep, but ground repeaters are not, and it's specifically in the rules. Yep. Yes.
Out of curiosity, you said that you worked this in Scotland. How do you get it on a plane? Lead being that being the keyword? Is it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, that's a very good question. So, even with my, ICOM 7000, like this FT 891 in the center upper image, when I was using 100 watts, a lithium iron phosphate battery, a 6 amp hour battery provided enough juice. This is a 3 amp hour battery. So a 6 amp hour battery would be 2 of these, provided enough juice to generate 100 watt signal. Nowadays I travel with a 3 amp hour battery, and that is well within, every airline has a limit. So you can't bring a lithium ion battery that's this big. You can't check it. You can't check any battery. You can't check even a small battery.
Yeah, I know.
You have to carry it on you. And most airlines,
It's about 140 watt hour or something.
yeah,
So the amp hour times the voltage, limits about 140, I think, 144.
Yeah. Every airline's a little different, but it's in that 125 or so range. This is 3 times 12, it's 36. So it falls well within the any airline regulation. I just make sure I have all my gear as carry-on.
Okay. And your HT is fine too?
Same thing, the batteries all add up. So when 125 or 140 watt hour regulation, they add up all your batteries, and it can't be more than that. But if you do this, even if you carry a battery for a 100 watt radio, You don't need something humongous. Two of these, or one that's a 6 amp hour, provides enough current, enough juice to power a 100-watt radio.
Especially if you're staying somewhere where you can charge them.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
For your phone, fix that up.
licensing is reciprocal.
Yeah, so that's a very good question. If you go to another country this is not just for SOTA, any ham operation. There are different reciprocal licenses available. In a lot of cases, in most countries, it literally is reciprocal. So legally, you've got to have a copy of your ham license with you and a copy of the document called the CEPT, or the Americas one for South America. Got to keep a copy of that. In the UK, and we'll let any ham operate unless they're an extra. This is the only reason I got my extras. Went to Scotland. Yeah. So, any other questions on this slide? Yes.
What about high-speed multimedia? Have you ever done that before?
No.
No.
No. CW, knowing how to use CW and using it for SOTA activation, it definitely helps. It's got a much lower signal to noise threshold. So when band conditions or distance or whatever, if single sideband's not working, CW a lot of times will work. I'd say about half the people that are activating are doing it with CW. It helps, but it's not necessary. A lot of my SOTA friends, they don't know CW, don't do it, and they do just fine. More lessons learned. So, question about bands, okay? So, I would say in the SOTA community, 20 meters is probably the standard that most people use. The antenna isn't too terribly long if it's like an inverted V dipole or an end-fed half wave. It's not crazy long. It works usually pretty good. What I say is it's nice to have a couple of bands at your disposal. So again, when I started, I had an inverted V tuned. No, I didn't have a tuner. I had it tuned for, the middle of the 20-meter band. That was all I had. 20 meters. If it's not working, if it bands out, that was that, Yes.
Use 17 meters?
Yeah, 17, yes. 17 right now is actually very good.
It's a lot less crowded.
It's a lot less crowded and might change in 7 years, but right now it's one of the cleanest, longest long-range working bands currently right now. So if you're going to go to Europe, easy. Yeah, 17's great. 10 meter right now is open to Europe quite often. Again, on 10 watt single sideband, 10 meters, go to Europe. 40 meter is a special part of my heart. All my local SOTA or regional, I'll say SOTA friends. So someone might be activating in the Catskills. Unless you have line of sight, you're not going to be able to hear them on anything but 40 meter. So I see one of my friends activating a peak. They're on 10, they're on 17, whatever. Got to wait until they get to 40 meter, and then I hear them, right? And then obviously some bands are just open and some are closed, and then the next day it'll flip. So it's nice to have multi-band capability. And so the best thing is to use an end-fed random wave or an end-fed half wave. If you got a really good tuner on your radio, the Electraft's got one of the best tuners available for QRM type radios. If you don't have a tuner on your radio, I would recommend like a 40 meter end-fed half wave with taps at 20 and 17 or 15 or something like that. you know, whatever you feel might be appropriate. Maybe even 10 meter, you can put as many taps on it as possible, or traps, I should say. Not taps, but traps. So you can get your multi-band capability that way. Okay, so back to 2 meter FM. It's pretty poor in some areas. You got to have a line of sight to a populated area. A lot of places in the Catskills, then Adirondacks, all you just see is mountaintops. And unless your buddies are out on the next peak, you're not going to get anybody. Maybe you might get one person. But in other areas, it works great. Cindy and I went to Arizona, a lot of peaks, and it just overlooks a broad plain, you know, metroplex, Tucson, Phoenix, somewhere. Almost guaranteed you're going to get enough people there. You know, so just be aware of that. And again, using a roll-up J-pole and getting it up really improves your odds if you want to just stick with 2 meters. Another reason to get multiple bands is so that you can, as you're activating a summit, you can contact other hams activating different summits. It might be on any band, right? So if you're stuck on 20 meter, you can't chase someone on anything else. So it's, if you have an end-fed random wave with a tuner, you can just see who else is, you know, again, if hopefully you get good cell coverage, you can watch the spots on SOTA Watch. Say, oh yeah, contact that guy in California, right? And if you do a summit to summit, and that's a highly prized goal for activators, is to do a summit to summit. You're on a summit, they're on a summit, making contact. Okay, so say hiking's not your thing, or you just don't want, you know, you don't like going out. You can still do chasing. Really simple process. Just fire up your computer and your rig. Monitor for spots on SOTA Watch. So that table on the right, upper right, is just a capture of SOTA Watch. So it just shows you the time. These are all people that spotted themselves, or someone spotted them, or they used RBN. In fact, if you look in the small print, you'll see a number of those are called RBN hole. It says RBN hole. That just means maybe they had cell service and maybe they didn't, but they made it an alert. They said they were going to be using CW on a certain band, and then RBN hole found them calling CW and their call sign and automatically spotted for them. So RBN hole. So you just get on SOTA Watch, pick someone you want to talk to, exchange call signs, signal reports, and then log that chase on SOTA data.
You want to capture their summit also?
Yeah, so yeah, very good point. So when you enter the data, either as an activator or a chaser, they're going to look for what summit you were on if you're activating, date, the other call sign, date, time, band, and mode. And they say in the rules that you got to exchange signal reports. But there's no place specifically that asks for that. You can always put it in the comment section, signal report. But so that, yeah, you need to know what summit they're on. If you're on a summit, you need to know what summit you're on. And again, if you want to chase, most of the same activator badges that I showed a couple of slides ago are available for chasers. With the one distinction, is if you get 1,000 points, instead of a mountain goat, you get called a shack sloth. So I'm a proud shack sloth. And if you're interested, if this is probably the best motivator, maybe, is if you just spend an hour just chasing people a day, you can get shack sloth in a week, because you get whatever points they get. You, like if a summit is a 10-point summit, you get 10 points by contacting someone activating a 10-point summit. Okay, so everyone's all excited to do SOTA. Here's the easiest one if you live near here. On State Game Lanes 219, just west of Little Meadows is a summit called 1890. It's 8 miles from here. It's a drive-up summit. The road that you could park on, it's 50 feet vertical from the summit. If you want to walk to the tippy top, it's maybe 1/10 of a mile. But the last couple of times I did it, parked on the side of the road, walked away from my car, set up. And the cell service and APR service is really good. So if you want to try it, this is a very low investment. Pardon? APRS is it uses a HT to send any number of information. Most people, it could be anything, but a lot of times they send their GPS location. So most HTs have a GPS a module on them, and you just set your APRS signal to include your GPS location, or you can use APRS to SOTA, that program that will automatically use APRS to spot you. But cell service is good, so no reason not to use SOTA Go. So highly recommend that. That was my first summit. It's 4 miles from my house. It's great.
I gotta put a plug in, that's also a POTA site that parks on the air.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely, all the state game lands and PCR.
They are, yep.
This way you can cut a double dip.
Yep.
For that, so, or you find it.
Yeah. And if you have anything, just send out an alert. I have anyone that activates in Whiskey 3, which is Pennsylvania and Maryland, get a little SOTA Goat notification. I'll look at that. I can see the summit from my bedroom. I'll contact you. And as an honorable mention.
Keep your shades closed.
Pardon? I'll keep my shades closed, but it's not that quite line of sight. Yeah, it's still 4 miles from the house. As an honorable mention, Utsayanta, am I saying that right, Cindy? Utsayanta Mountain near Stamford.
Yeah.
Beautiful drive-up summit. If you find yourself near Stamford, New York, in the Northwest Catskills, drive up to the top. Gorgeous views of the summit. Again, park your car in the parking lot, walk 100 feet to a picnic table, do an activation.
You can work the repeaters back here from it.
Yeah. Don't go there. Don't go there when it's in the winter.
No.
We learned the easy way. We saw some people drive up and they could not get down.
Well, it's interesting up there how short the trees are. Years ago, Phil and I went up there and he showed me the trees don't grow any higher than probably what this height of the ceiling is here.
On Utsayanta?
Yep.
Oh, they're tall now.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, there's so one thing, there's an antenna farm
Yeah.
on 2 meters.
Yeah.
Every station on 2 meters is broadcasting NOAA weather. It's just re-radiating, right?
Mhm.
Off the
Yeah.
fences
Oh,
and beams and stuff.
yeah. Oh, yeah, that's an
There's an antenna. Yeah, there's quite a few antennas. There's a beautiful there was that I don't know what that building is called. A building. There's a fire tower, but there's also a whole bunch of antennas, and one of them is a NOAA weather radio station. And when you're up there,
That's all you hear.
that's all you hear.
Well,
So, but the HT works
the
fantastic.
state's got a lot of stuff there because that's a big connection point between Albany and down in this area. So it's state, federal, a lot of stuff goes through there.
But it's definitely worth going to if just for the views. If you like views, they're fantastic. Again, go when there's no ice on the road,
Yeah.
because it's steep.
Nick, you mentioned seasonal use roads.
Yeah.
As a city kid, I thought they were just great. Ford told me, no, do not use them in that part of the season.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I found out.
Yeah.
You kind of go in and say, wait a minute, what do I, can't get out again?
And that's a running joke now.
Oh, yeah. I avoid them.
That's my presentation. Are there any other questions?
Talk about logging.
Oh, yeah, okay, okay, logging. So again, ultimately, you gotta get on SOTA data and log your chases, whether you're chasing or activating. Again, unlike POTA, you don't get the automatic credit as a chaser. But how do you transfer it? So right now, I use paper log, old style, right? Pencil, paper, that's a pilot's knee board. So I got my hands free. That's my one high-tech solution, right? One less thing to balance, right?
Yeah.
And you know, if I got it on a picnic table, I'll just lay it down. But a lot of times I'm up against a tree or something, just so they can, whoops. So that's a knee board. I have write in the rain paper if it looks like the weather's gonna be inclement, write in the rain, pencil, no pen. A little more bulletproof. Recently I got involved in, I don't know if anyone does like logging like Ham2K or HamRS.
You're a smart.
Yeah. Ham2K is an excellent program for logging SOTA. It is SOTA, POTA, all that. It's set up for that in mind, and it's fantastic.
I think it might even overtake HamRS at some point, because
It
it's
would,
getting updated and developed much better.
everyone I spoke with prefers Ham2K.
Yeah.
You know, including I met over the weekend, a guy that helped develop HamRS. He says Ham2K is better.
Is it free?
It's free, yep,
It is free?
yep.
And what's the other one after HamToK?
HamRS.
HamRS.
Yeah, and you know, some people may prefer HamRS, but yeah, so, you know, there's a lot of people, they stay up on the summit for hours and they'll get almost 100 contacts, right? I can get probably 30 contacts in an hour, right? So, it's a lot of logging, you know, copying from paper. So Ham2K is a big advantage. Did that answer the logging question?
Do you ever do digital?
Yeah, so aside from CW, FM, and all that, there is specifically a data mode, and they don't care. SOTA doesn't care whether it's FT8 or FT4 or RIDI or whatever. You can put that mode in as data, and there's a data badge. So, you know, get on FT8, look for someone. There's always every day, there's somebody activating usually FT8. Make a contact with them, log it, and get a data badge.
I have to say, Nick, I'm surprised you're not involved in POTA, and it's not a conflict. You can do both. It's not like the other, you know, the other one that there's kind of a bad blood between the on the air groups, but yeah, it kind of makes sense. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, SOTA and POTA, from my experience, get along really well.
Yeah.
So no problem.
And you know, we were saying, well, why does POTA have a 10 QSO? Because you could drive up, you could sit in your car, you could, you know, sit in the back of the Uber and do your activation, but certainly SOTA takes a lot more.
Yeah, QRP is a lot more of an advantage for SOTA, so maybe they figured that out. Maybe they just figured 4 is enough.
When you run into other people, do they come up to you and say, what the hell are you doing?
Some do. So there is a special SOTA flag, all sorts of SOTA bling you can buy at the SOTA website. A lot of people will set up a placard or a flag. But people come up, yeah, I've had all sorts of people assume that, I don't know, use your imagination. What I was doing I was with the government, I was doing some kind of research, was I a scientist?
How many people see the pole and say, are you fishing?
All the time.
1,000 miles from the ocean. What are you doing?
Yeah, I was coming down from a summit just last week in the Adirondacks, and 4 anglers were coming up and they go, how was it? I go, that's not a fishing pole.
Are there any questions out on Zoom? We had questions in here as well. And Bernie just joined us to WA2J ID. If not, that's fine.
So you got a bunch of POTA maniacs or POTAholics here that are, I really welcome the opportunity to expand to SOTA,
Yeah,
you know, certainly.
So if you're doing soda and POTA, do you become SPOTA?
SPOTA, there's, yeah, or IOTA. My friend wants to do hammocks on the air. He's a big hammock fan, so. he wants to get-
Hammocks?
Yeah, he wants to set up hammocks on this.
There's also Walmart parking lots on the air
Yeah.
too, so.
Oh, is there?
Yes, there is.
I just heard that is castles on the air,
Yes, I
and then
saw,
I said, well, can I do White Castles on the air?
Yeah.
only New Jersey. though.
Only New Jersey, I miss them.
So, again, there's some useful links, but it's all SOTA.org something.
Well,
Spot, yes.
Where do you get all these equipment?
Where do I get the equipment? Yeah, all over the place. So, pardon?
Something that I recommended for soda.
Yeah, so there's actually a number of, there are a number of companies that sell SOTA specific gear. So the only one I can name drop right now is all these antennas. So the Balun, there's a company called QRP guys that make Balun kits. So if you want to thread a toroid,
Is that the
do all
guy
that
down
stuff.
around Allentown or what have you?
Pardon?
Is that the guy down around Allentown or something like
I
that?
don't know where they're from.
And there's a guy at the Wilkes-Barre Ham Fest. I think he was from down around Allentown, Bethlehem or some of that, if I remember right. He had all kinds of kits.
Maybe, yeah, yes, and there are tons of people that make all sorts of really clever, compact, lightweight gear. Winders, so I 3D printed my own winders, but there's all sorts of companies that cater to lightweight, SOTA specific gear.
Yeah, that's where the money is right now, you know?
Yeah.
All kinds of antennas.
Yep. Any other questions?
Can you use fire towers?
Yes. So yeah, you can climb up. I've never done it myself, but there's no reason. So I've used fire towers to, I go up halfway up, hook up the rope, and then go a short rope, 5 feet of rope, and then straight to my end-fed antenna. I've used that. I've never gone in a tower. There's no reason you can't though, right? Just hang an antenna off the end or use your HT, right? The propagation would be spectacular.
Can you do, slow scan TV or fast scan TV?
You can. I don't know how I don't know if it pertains specifically to SOTA because you're just exchanging calls. All you got to do is exchange call signs, but
It would be a digital mode, I guess.
you could go digital mode, yeah.
In terms of personal safety, do you typically go alone or with somebody or file?
I go alone
Yeah,
more times than not. So that's a good point. I've been thinking about getting an inReach.
the satellite.
The little portable thing, 2 buttons. Here's my GPS location. I'm okay. Here's my GPS location. Send a helicopter.
Right.
That's the spot tracker we use with the balloons.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Difference.
But iPhone 13 starting this fall are gonna have that feature built in. So I think I'm gonna wait. But I tell Cindy where I'm going.
Connect to a
She knows how to
satellite.
watch me on SOTA Watch. So if I'm doing a number of summits, she can get on and say, he was on that one, not on that one, or he's done them all, right? And
And, I could imagine Cindy, if you got a license, then you could say, hey. On your pickup,
That may be why she doesn't have a license.
Like, it almost gets me with the badges.
Yeah.
any other questions?
This was great.
All right, well, thank
Okay.
you so much.
Yeah,
thank you.
This was outstanding. It's actually gonna make me want to retire early and get started. All right, so it's.
Hey, Drew,
8:40.
I got a quick comment.
Oh, yeah, Dan, yeah, go ahead, Don.
maybe this was covered. I've been doing some multitasking, but if you could send out that PowerPoint presentation to the club members, that would be great. If that's a thing we can do.
All right, let me just,
Definitely good with that, Drew.
yeah, no, I've got the PowerPoint here and, I'll work it out that, so we can put it on one of the, clubs,
I think, can we put it on YouTube, the presentation?
oh, yeah.
I'm good with that too.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
No, their presentation is great. It'll be on our YouTube, YouTube
Well,
channel.
YouTube is-
Yeah, I'd like access to the PowerPoint where I can just page through and I don't have to listen to the, the 45-minute presentation. Because there's certain things I want to look at and be reminded of.
Yeah, there's a lot of good reference websites
Yeah,
and
the
things.
links
All right.
and-
All right, so let's take a 5-minute bio break and then Ford is gonna show you some neat things that our new rigs, the FT 710s can do. And so, well, we've also got our 50/50.
Raffle real quick. $22.
That one was
The,
50/50 raffle.
Spend for the following number. The last 4 digits, 7615 for $23.
7615.
Thank you very much.
Oh, they're over there.
Yeah, it's great. Nice. Oh, really?
Feel better. It was incredible. Because in one spot, switching.
Oh, yeah, sure, yes, appreciate it. So, this is my point. Okay.
Like
Yeah.
that.
No, they make. They just said, a bigger issue rig at home. And something you did, gotta be guided out. So, yeah, this is that one, right? And so. Right, yeah, and it's got and no TBI. Yeah, I have a little,
I had a check on my rig.
so how do I convert that from something?
Yeah.
Adapter is just something like that, right, one of these clips, and then the kind of goes in here.
You're very similar.
Yep, so that's the one that I did. This way, if every. This is third to, it's. There was 2 companies, like it's Spider.
Well, okay, this is the history. So as time goes on, it's like when they stop talking about it, it's exactly the way it goes.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Somebody's gonna back at home page showing you the block, right?
Yeah. Now,
What?
Is it
Not really, no, because it's not a computer, that you can take a screenshot. But if you went to the AC, I'm sure they would have, they'd find ways to make it happen.
Hey, I want to take a video.
Oh, yeah.
I figured it was good. No, your question is okay. I don't know, I just got that from the analytics. Pennsylvania's got a lot of, the state gateways and the photos. They post, maybe more than half, let me think that. You gotta be quite an internet. It's like the SOTA.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. This would be,
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of good things too. Most of your games, yeah, on everything. Well, certainly, if it's a new fish, yeah.
all right, we're gonna start with the orientation on 7:10.
Now, most of you.
All right, so, board has offered to, give us a little bit of orientation on these new 710 rigs, some of the features, and some of the things you need to sort of be aware of, so, hopefully people can see the display.
Okay, first off, now that you got that lined up, I'm gonna get it right down here on the. Yeah, right on down here on the.
Yeah.
Get a good straight in shot.
It doesn't zoom, just so you know.
Okay. Wait a minute, let's do. Yeah, good, good. Now you gotta flip your hit here.
Yeah, just, because you may want to get down on top of these, get some of these ones there.
Yeah, okay.
Now you just get the focus.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Here, Drew, let's, slide this under as I pick it up. There, now you can re-aim. All right,
All right, yeah, that's the, like, yep.
okay, all right, we'll get started here. Let the rest get situated. All right, first of all, before I start, I don't get commission for it, but if you want something good, you got some of these newer fangled rigs. And you wanna know some other stuff that's a little bit better than the manual that comes with them. There's a guy over in, ZL3DW.
So that's New Zealand.
New Zealand, okay. He writes up books, he, gets these rigs, puts them through the paces, comes up with settings, and the whole works and explains a lot of the, tricks of the thing. Books available for around $15 from, Amazon. And, they're handy.
I'm trying
And,
to take a picture of this, like,
okay, now, this tonight, basically, I've got, a few things to go over. The whole reason I came up with this idea is a few weeks back, they did a special event here. And for some reason or other, the radio didn't do some of what it was supposed to. So I figured rather than try, I couldn't find out what the problem was. I checked cables, quadplex and homeworks, couldn't find what it was. So I don't know where it was operator problems, the glitch with the radio, or what have you. Well, and I hadn't set these up. Well, what I've done now is both of these, I've turned around and set them up pretty much the way I use it at home. There's more than one setting, but these are set so Saturday when you come to operate, hopefully you can turn it on and everything works. But I wanted to give a quick rundown on some of the things on it. Some of it's straightforward, others isn't. Okay. First off, power will hit the controls first, then I'll go into some of the other parts. This is going to be a crash course, so we'll make it real easy. Top button is your power on and off and a lock. So if you get to getting going and you bump the tuning that's off or something, just hit it quick, you're unlocked. And that way now, I can move the knob all around, nothing happens. And P1 button on your microphone, first button on the left, that little push button will do the same thing, lock and unlock it. Okay, the tuner button, right here. And for you folks looking, right there, it says tune. All right. No, it doesn't say tune. Okay, if you want the internal tuner to operate, you have to turn it on so it says tune. Now, I haven't tried it with the other and talked about antennas and the whole works. I thought that would work. Couldn't pick a doggone thing up here. So part of the infed half-wave is in the bushes out front here. So we'll see if it'll tune. Press on.
Hey, guys, the mic turned off on Ford's presentation.
We're not hearing you, Ford.
Guys up at Copernic, you're muted. We can't hear what Ford's saying.
There you go, try that.
Oh, okay, can you hear me?
Okay, we got you.
All right, okay. Now that was interesting. Well, there we found something else the RF gets into. So, you notice I didn't hook the mic up, so, but anyway, so, for operating the tuner, and what I would, suggest you do is, when you get on, hit the tuner button and, let it do its thing. If you go much up and down the band, just hit the tuner button, and, if it doesn't need it, it won't do it. but it
You have to, actually hold it in for a moment.
Yep. hold it in for a
Because
moment.
if you just momentarily hit it, it turns it off tune, right?
Do I want to see it again?
Yeah.
Okay, here, let's just change, bands here. Okay, so, and. Okay, yep. So, here we go. Now, some of them, sometimes you can just press it. Okay, press it on and off, just kicks the tuner in and out. And the tuner on these only works on the transmit. It's not tied in with the receive at all. Turn it on, just press it for about a second or so, let off.
You know, like it. Oh, you're on. Yeah, let's go up in frequency here a little bit.
Oh,
You-
okay.
You were on the APR on the FT8.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, let's get you up in the sideband.
Here, let's
Alright.
go right up with that. No, doesn't like it. Okay, well, anyway,
Pick another band.
I will go back to 40. And, we'll go up the band a ways. And there we are. It's tuned. Okay, now to just, I'll go into more on this, with the metering and what have you as we go on down. Next control down here, it says Vox Mox. If you start seeing the display doing weird things with the meter wiggling, and you see the red light on here, check, make sure you didn't hit that button. It's very easy to do. You're going for the tuner button, and the light's a little bad, or what have you, you hit this. I did this on my own FTDX10 at home. It was kind of, dark there, and, I'm looking and hear the meters moving. They got the TV on. Tap on the mic. Well, cool, that mic's hot. What's going on here? Well, I'd hit it. So now on mine, the one I use at home, you'll see a little bit of white tape on each side here. So go for the white tape, not the button below it. So, stupid stuff. So if you got a red light, I'm not going to hit the red light because I'm going to take a chance of any problems. Okay, blow at your phone, phone jack. It's a stereo type phone jack. Stereo type plug for your headphones. Mic plugs into there. All right. Okay, now, across the top, here is, our, mode button. So that puts you into this menu that, okay, I can change the upper sideband. AM. Go back to lower sideband. You can do this with your fingers, or as I'll show you with a mouse and what have you when we get into more of this other, but, well, I can do it right now. So I can, go up to, right here. You'll see the cursor right there for lower sideband. Just click on that. It'll bring up your mode and go upper sideband. AM, narrow, FM. low. And for you folks, I'm not gonna get into it, but, there's something down here in your preset that can be for your FT8 or what have you, if you have it, set for that. Okay, back up to our buttons here. Most of these are pretty much self-explanatory. The Zin spot, that's for CW for, spotting your, carrier. Split, that's for, split, separate, transmit and receive frequency. Clarifier, RIT is, something you know on the other rigs on, receive. And the noise blanker. You got pulse noise, like up to my place, but it's got an electric fence. So, every so often, bump, so you see the S-mirror kick, and I'll get back, kick, and just back again. And, so you can use that to help take it out. All right, next row goes down, VFO memory. A and B bands. Okay, the bands button. QMB, that's a quick, memory bank. If you wanna save the frequency, press and hold that. There it is, it's stored. You wanna recall it? Yes. So, okay, oh yeah, let me show you one thing too. On the AB button, there's the A and B VFOs. Blue for A. You go to B, turns green on your, see your lights on there? So, okay. Man, QMB, okay. Now, we'll get into some of the, finer adjustments. Okay, the DNR button here, digital noise reduction. There's without it. There's with it. Now to set it, press and hold it. You get your DNR level. What?
Where you see visually, is there like any type of signal that will show visually?
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Okay, the DNR, to set it, press and hold it. You can put quite a bit, but you listen there. Kind of sounds underwater, so I found on this about a 6. It's a good level. Now, I've got the preamps on this.
Can you go to a station and?
Yeah,
flip,
yep,
you know,
yep, well, yeah, let me do that.
So you can hear what the DNR does for us. No, it's okay, I am saying that. It's at 7305.
Yeah, it is, okay, let's. Here we go. Okay, you were asking about with the display. Okay, there's your signal. You can adjust your level I'll show you how you. Normally. With this, you run it with, what we call a little bit of grass in here. You can, have more, and then you get more of your, blue background in your waterfall. All these levels are adjustable. If you don't, want the blue coming in as quick, there's level adjustments for it, yeah. So anyway. I mean,
Now there's more.
Because it turned out, there's more grass. It's more like maybe.
now there, I kicked the preamp in. You can see there's more noise to it. Now, one thing that nice with this radio is, your display does not change when you're messing with the controls. So like for the noise. Nothing changes there. You can change your RF gain. See there, the signal's still staying the same. So the display is picking the signal off before a lot of your controls. So it's a little different than those of you who got the ICOM 7300. It's different, but this is the way Yaesu does it. Okay.
The blue also has green in it.
It's the width of the signal.
Okay.
No, and it's based too on signal
There's
strength.
another
And that color business can be changed. I can show you right now. We can, no.
It's the width of the signal,
one. Right.
like the,
Oh, he's changing the color now.
right.
Do the sunset color. Yeah.
Let's see here, what else do we have? You can go to a.
Oh, red. Oh, now it's red.
I found myself, I like the color there with it, cause you get the green and blue, but, it's all adjustable for all these menus. Okay, now.
Is there any like a symbol for his?
For what?
His?
His? Well,
No.
well, no, there's,
That, I can,
the whole thing is his.
Yes.
Right.
Stuff, that's noise, it's not really.
Yeah.
But you notice when the.
that's your noise, and if you look at also, look at your S meter, see what your S meter reading. You're reading about 10 dB of noise.
Well, you got the RF gain cranked up,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
why.
no, thanks, Joe. Okay, so there you got,
S9 worth of noise.
there's a noise level, but, let's,
See, now there's a signal.
Yeah.
knock the, preamp off.
And the needle is moving also.
Yeah.
Okay, see, we dropped the noise level down quite a bit. That's,
It's
kept the
such a-
preamp
yeah.
off.
So now there's
So,
less.
all right,
So, you're not picking up.
Right.
so now the other controls, all right, let me just step you through the, oh yeah, one other thing right off the bat. I'll show you folks, on your tuning. Some like the, knob, so it
The wheels.
three wheels. Some like it where it's tighter. Okay, right at the bottom here. Underneath it's a little lever. You can
Oh.
move. That changes the tension on the knob.
It's like a lever or a wheel?
No, it's a lever. See, it's a little finger right there.
Oh,
And, so as you're operating Saturday, if, you like more drag on, or like with me, you get the moving your hands around, well, this is a little less. Of course, on my other radio at home, my DX10, it's got another ring right here. It's a fast tuning. Well, that's nice, but then they turn around and the controls are different. They put the volume control and get RF gain control right down here in the corner. And then level control up here. And then the bandwidth control here is what's different, but, and then for your band change is a button right here. So you go to change your band and you bump the dial. So, but it's got some other features where this you have to go into the menu rather than push a button, but I got more buttons, so there's more stuff to, goof up, but, okay. Now let's take you through, some of the controls. Right here, this bottom is step memory channel and,
Nope. Sorry.
and
Oops, there we go.
okay, all right. So, all right, press this button here. You see it says shift. And then you turn this knob right here. Wait, let's get it. Yeah, it's shift. Press it. Oh, wait, why is it? There you go. There you go. It highlights it, but you can shift your pass band. Right up there. And now,
Yes,
like,
yeah, so if you've got a signal that's up high, you can, by shifting the bass band, you can, you can basically eliminate, you can filter that out, or conversely, if it's down low, you can cut that out as well. Yeah.
yeah, let me, hold on, yeah, here we go.
Yeah, it's not very good. I mean, very good.
All right, now we'll go back and these guys can do it.
I love the visualization. I went out.
And I understand that.
So it's just a night when you want all kinds of signals. Okay, now we can. See? I can shift it there. Myself, what I do it is just my own preference. Most leave it right there at 0. I like to knock mine back like at about 100, 120. It just cleans the tonal quality up a little bit. But either way. Okay, next position over is the width. So you want like normal sideband signal is around 2,500 kilohertz, 2,400. You can narrow it right down. So you might find, for like the QSO party or something down around 2,100, something like that. Because like last Saturday with the QSO party on 40 meters, all you saw was signals all around here. And you look on the display and here's guys talking here and here, and it was all over. So you could narrow it up and use your RF gain control to back it down. But okay. Now back up here with this function knob here. Most of you won't need to do anything. Your main one, you'll probably leave it on, is right on level. That's this knob right here, the function knob. That changes your level on your display. You see where I get more grass in it or less. Um. And then there's, all the other settings here. Now, let me say one thing here about mic gain and the AMC level. This set's different than your common rig. Normally, most of your rigs, you set your ALC. So, in fact, let's put the ALC meter on. So you're, basically, you set your mic gain, so your ALC meter, didn't swing into the blue section. Then, you turn around and, if you had the automatic control, mic control, let's go back, now to the compression level, or you put your speech processor on, then you adjust it for about 10 dB. Well, this here has got, and I think some of it they got to clean up on software and some of that, but, the recommendation is for the settings as, you set it at the mic gain at around 50 to 55. Set your mic gain, so on the ALC it swings just up to the blue, or up there, and then your AMC, that's a limiter. And from what this book says here, at 100 the limiter is off, and below that then it starts kicking in. He found that 95 works good. That's what I do on mine. So, basically, I set both of them up this way, 55 and 95. And, basically, it'll work out fine as far as your audio. That's the way I've got mine set. People don't, if I answer anybody, they hear me. And, no complaints about the audio. So, if you wanted to change power level, and also I'm using the mouse on this, you can, put your finger right on here. Or right up here, the RF power, highlight it, and then we can, and you'll notice up here in the corner, as you change different functions, it'll tell you what it is. So there's for RF power, use this function knob again, just turn it. So you can drop your power level way down. Or way up. The other thing that I failed to mention is narrow wide. Something that's nice with this. And you can, sit right here with the width. On this DSP reset, when you're into this menu here, to just get out of it, just press that DSP reset button and it clears right out of it. But now, okay, something that's nice with this is this narrow button. You want to get, somebody starts getting in close, you want to narrow that, instead of having to go back in the menu, you just press the narrow button. See it narrow it right up. And you can set this, I've got it set to, go to 1900, I believe, 1800 and 1900, but,
So you can preset that.
right,
preset
yep,
width.
that can, be preset. And it can also be changed here if you want, but I left this preset, so, basically, in most cases, you're gonna be running. Okay, yeah, 1950 is what I got it set for on the narrow, but we can go narrower on that if we had to, but, all right, let's see if there's anything else I wanted to cover here. There's, all kinds of settings. We won't get into all of them, but, you got all kinds of settings, that you can do in sideband, in the AM mode, the FM mode, but even back here in sideband. You got a whole set there. your tonal quality, your all kinds of stuff. Most of these parameters, you use a wheel more they're set. Now, one thing, oh, yeah. Let me, let's get back here. All right, something that I have found, a couple of things. Number one, with the preamp. This has got two preamps in it, so if you really want to, like if you're down on 6 meters, maybe on 10 meters, you can kick two preamps in and really ups the gain. It's got 20 dB of gain with those two preamps in. With one preamp in, it's 10 dB gain, and with the preamps off, it's straight through. You may find lots of times on the weaker signals, and normally they say like 40 meters, and some of that you don't need the preamp. Well, as I read one place, if you can hear noise, you don't turn the volume up. If you can hear noise in the background, you don't need the preamp. If you don't hear noise, turn the preamp on. So, but that's just an operating thing. The other thing you can do too, as you probably know, is use your gain. And that can help you out. The other thing that I want to show you that I found is okay, on your AGC, automatic gain control. This, if it's set, it's got an automatic setting, and when you're on sideband, that'll automatically take it to slow. I myself have found lots of times, put it on fast, that will, like with pulse noise and what have you, it won't knock your gain down, knock your audio level down. And then when it comes back up on the fast, it'll do it. It'll react quicker to it. It works good for static pulses. And, but then sometimes it's too much. So you can just use your RF gain control and back it down. If not, just leave it on auto or slow, and you've got it. Let me see if there's anything else to cover. I think I'm just about for the. Yeah, I think that's a quick rundown. So, anybody with questions? I know
I
this
was
is,
thinking about showing the notch filter.
oh, the notch filter. Okay, all right, yes.
Well, I'll go find a signal, you bring it up.
Okay, yeah.
Like if there's noise and
Okay,
Kind of dirty.
for the notch filter, you, press this button here, or, we can click right. You'll see where the cursor is. Click right on that, and all right, move over to where it says notch, press the button. See it highlights? Now, we can move our notch.
You hear that,
Yeah,
that tone around?
sounds like a wind.
So now let's see if I can,
It's like a high.
pick what frequency the noise is. You can zero it.
Okay, what is April?
Like, intercept, it's one of these. Like a free-
there we go. I think we got one.
like,
Yeah,
something,
okay.
and you just say to
Yeah. Okay, listen. Hear that? Hear that?
Yeah.
Why don't you just listen for a couple of minutes and stop talking? You might learn something. You hear that squirrel? Nope. You should be able to, and you'll see it right here. You dial right over to it.
Well, not, especially on sideband, it does tend to,
Hear the notch? Or hear the,
does take out some of the information that sometimes you gotta sort of,
don't turn it right out?
yeah.
And so it also, the one thing that's unfortunate, but it's just the way it goes, when you try filtering some of this stuff out, you also lose some of it also. So, one of the things with, the notch and what have you is it, reduces the signal or changes the voice. There's another feature in here, that, can do a lot of stuff too, is what's, yeah, let's get it over here. Is the contour. That's this little job there, so that. No. I can. It can also be used as a notch, or you can configure it so you turn this the other way around so it enhances it. So you could actually, if you had somebody talking here, you could actually bring it, the signal right up out of the noise. But, now. So, yeah, and the last thing, I keep doing it, so, let me. Let's get back out of these. Okay, now the other thing, that I failed to mention, and you'll see me do this, if you want, to do quick tuning. This is set up so we'll do it in, one kilohertz steps. There. So if you want a fast tuning from one end of the band to the other, do it with that, or then you've got your finer step on your tuning dial, but there's also a button here that says fine and fast down in the lower corner right here. And that'll nail it right down so it's. See there, each little move is just moving these digits, where on the faster. No. And, now the other thing, that, you'll notice, on the, for the cursor here, for the pointer, you can do it two ways. You can do the cursor, which right here, this is nice if you got the band, like, see right here, we got this spread out over 100 kilohertz. So, let's back down on frequency a little bit here. Oh, cheap. We're up to the top of the band. Okay, now see, it's spread out over 100 kilohertz. So from 7202 to 7302, there's your whole band. And, set your level up. Now you can just tune right across. Okay. There's a signal there. Kind of like shooting fish in a pond. You know, you can see right where they are, but you get the float on it.
I just saw a signal just like really sweep.
Okay, that's what they call, I think they call it a unisode. It's a signal that's sent out that goes across the band
Mhm.
and then comes back. And it's checking propagation or what have you. But it looks like a sailboat going right across the screen. And you'll see it on 40 meters, you'll see it on 20. It may be on 75 and 80. But I know definitely 40 and 20, you'll see it. And it's you can Google it, Unisode. And it's a signal set out and they bounce the signals or bounce off the signals or check the level. But anyway, so you can do it that way, or the other way that you can do here is go down to this, down the bottom here. The fixed, the fixed uses the band edge, but it only sets it at one end, not the other. So they don't recommend using it, but the other one puts it in the center. Well, that works nice for a lot of cases. You don't have to chase your cursor or chase your pointer up and down the dial. But it gets a little weird because now your stuff all now instead of being able to zip right to it, okay, I see that signal. Now I gotta hope, where'd he go? You know, I see that signal. See there, just I get to it. Well, maybe this guy will stay on until I get to him. Yep, he did. But so so it's a matter of preference, and I think probably you digital guys probably prefer it being centered. That way you know you're right on frequency. But I don't know. It's a matter of preference. And like for your operating, if you want to change it, just go over here and hit the cursor. Now you're back the other way. Or what I'll do sometimes is, okay, up at the upper end of the band, something like that. And well, let's do it here. So I want to get the other end of the band. I just hit it for center. Now I got some more of the band I can do because it just shifted everything.
And
So-
it doesn't change the waterfall. Yeah, the waterfall doesn't move, so.
Right, yeah. No, it's just the spectral display.
Yeah.
You can also, on this, if you want, okay, the speed of the waterfall, you can, let's get the mouse up here. We can make the waterfall roll right along pretty good hickory. It's various speeds on it. There all depends on what you like. Myself, I just like it slow because what I use the waterfall for is okay, there was a signal right here where that cursor is. There was a signal that's there, but he disappeared. Well, but I could look at that. There he is back. There's the signal back. So okay, that's probably a conversation going on.
In the waterfall?
Oh, yeah, wait a minute. Let's let me get the. Helps if I get over on toward the frequency. Yep, now see, he lets off when we go blank. When the other one comes on. Of course, we can, you know, if you want more of the waterfall. Or if you want less. I usually, myself, I just use the waterfall to see the signal is okay. There was a signal here, now he disappeared, now he's back. And I like the spectral display. We can also, one of the things, and I think you asked the question about how it worked, or how could you tell you had a signal? Well, we can go right here with a span. And this change it, so like go down to 50 kilohertz. Okay, now you can see See that whole width there, that's his signal, right there, that whole,
And you can tell that it's lower sideband because it's going to the left.
The lower side of the headlight.
now if he was upper sideband, he'd be the other. And if the signal is right on straight up, well, then it's an AM signal.
Yeah, that was the question, was the, what are the visual?
And we can you get this even, narrower, it all depends on, see, like we go down 20 kilohertz wide, so now here's his whole signal here in this part. But, of course, then 200 kilohertz, if you want to see like a good portion of the band. And the reason I say you usually leave this set for level, because as you change some of these parameters, your grass is going to change. So,
I was gonna say, we could be here for the next 4 hours. And still-
right, and if you like more to look at,
Yeah.
okay, expand there, you get more waterfall to it. All right, now this is the other thing, if you want some other things, there's your audio pattern.
Now we're talking.
And right there, and, okay, now this is the thing, this is something Jesus got. And, it's more, oh yeah, let me do this, let me take the motor off.
I wonder if we can do it in VR.
Instead of going down, it's going in.
See, so that looks pretty, you know, a nice sales pitch or what have you, but, I've never found it very practical, and nobody else seems to, but.
I like it.
And if you change the color display, you can get all kinds of colors out of it and what have you, but, you know, you generally, don't bother with that, so, I think that covers it. Anybody got any questions?
I just have a question.
Pretty cool.
Was anybody brave enough to do the firmware?
No,
Wait,
I've not done. the
Well,
first-
we just got them, so we have,
No,
well,
I have it, my 710, I bought it, used, and I haven't touched the firmware on it. And, I know some people, they like to keep updating. But, just like with updating Windows or something, you know, you make the update and then, next week they tell you, uh-oh, you shouldn't have done that. And, so,
Are you talking about crowdsource that brought down all the airlines and everything?
well, there's another one.
anything,
So,
like, right, you never wait for like a 17.0. You always wait for the 17.1, you know, update.
no, just like you do, and Steve would know this with the digital modes, like FL Digi and that. It seems like every week they had another revision out.
Yeah.
At WSJTX or, you know, every week or so, he had another mod to it. And you listen to these guys trying to do the FL Digi, we're on the wrong version of it. You gotta update this. So I always figured with that FL Digi, if it ever came to emergencies, they'd be too busy updating the newest stuff on it to have it work. But, so any questions? Any other questions? So you're all.
Setting to get it back and to get it all goofed up.
Well, basically, basically, that's why I showed you the buttons here. Most of this stuff here, you use it, that's all you gotta do. You don't have to go into this other menu.
Right.
And, I preset the stuff and, it, should be ready to go out of the box. Let me just verify here that, I haven't changed anything that.
Well,
Nope, it should be all set to go right out of the box, Saturday, so, and I'll be here if anybody's got any problems, but, the basic thing is, I just wanted to cover the stupid mistakes that we can all make, and, rather than having to answer each person individually and show them what's going on, I show the whole group here, and now you know enough to be dangerous, but it's, the rig, now I've got the FTDX10, I've got this. The biggest thing they did is this one, they improved where the controls are. Put them logically. Volume control where you can get to it. Mine, the volume on the DX10 is over here. Crowded in, so it's sort of like the car's I don't know how it is now, but the cars, you remember a few years back when they started putting the wiper control on the steering column. Some cars you lift it up to start the wiper sweep, and others you push it down. If you wanted to change the speed, some turn the knob left and the other ones you turn it right. Well, same way here, but it looks like what they've done is some of the quirks that were on some of the other ones, they improved it on this. There's a few others that they did, like see on my DX10, I've got some more buttons, or if you go like with the FT1000, what have you, that's got all kinds of buttons and less menu driven. You know, like on mine for changing this width and the whole works. I got the concentric control up here. When I can change the width and the shift just by here, I don't have to go pushing any button that's there or any of that.
Can you save different profiles, like if you have certain settings that you
Yes,
like,
yeah,
you can save them and then,
yes, there's, no, I haven't done it, but
okay,
you can put an SD card in this and put all your parameters in.
gotcha.
And then if somebody else was gonna do it, you could put the other SD card in and do it that way.
Well, you
And
could do 2 SD cards at the same time?
no, one at a time. And there's all kinds of, on the audio settings, there's equalizer settings and the whole works. It's like setting up a stereo, or a broadcast, setup. You can set your, transmit audio all kinds of ways, raise the highs, lowers the lows and all that. But once again, you might do that with your home station, but for something for the, like, for this that we're doing on Saturday, the contest is basically, can they hear you? Did you give them the 5.9? Did they get the 5.9? And did you get the 5.9? Okay, go on to the next one. And,
Where's the speaker at?
right up on top here.
Oh, so you're not using the,
No,
one that goes on the side?
no, this is available also, you get the AESS model.
Oh, that's not-
Audio advantage system. Anyway, what they do is give you another speaker that's mounted on. And what it's sort of like is a woofer and a tweeter. This is like the woofer and this is the tweeter. And you've got setting here. No, wait a minute, that's the cutoff frequency. Let me.
The high frequency speaker.
Wait, why didn't that? Oh, yeah. Okay, and there's, so the AESS, you can change it well, when you got the other speaker in, when you're on 0, I think it's all to the external speaker, and when you're up on 100, it's, splits it between, all on the other one. And then as you back it down different percentages, it'll change it. It's really, it's a big gimmick. Some people like it, but most say they don't. The biggest thing that I found with it, you put an external speaker on, now you're tweaking this to get the balance. In a lot of cases, the audio is good right off of that. And if I'm going to an external speaker, I just assume to use the external speaker because I don't want to use the internal speaker. And, but that's one of the features they put into the AESS model. My FTDX10, which is a higher priced rig, doesn't have it. You plug the speaker in and that's it. One thing I will caution you folks about, later, 2 things, or one thing, if you get the bug for an external automatic tuner. Unfortunately, right now, there's not many that work by being able to use the tune button on here and have it control an external tuner. Yaesu put something in the 710 that they didn't in the others. It doesn't let it interface to other rigs, like MFJ or some of that. There is a way around it, and this is what LDG does. In fact, LDG, I've been doing some research on it. The LDG tuners, lots of times they're going into the linear port. what they, you'd think they're controlling the ALC to drop the power. Well, what it looks like to me they're doing, they go into the RTS setting on the linear, because like on this here, your jack is for tuner or linear. You set it up in the menu where it's gonna be for the tuner or the linear. Well, if you're using like an LDG tuner, you set it for linear. And then you plug in to the REM/ALC jack here. Well, that, it's a stereo jack. And the ring of the plug is the RTS. So then you hit the button on the LDG tuner. The key's the RTS, which is the push to talk. And the final sees the high SWR, it backs the power down, the power protection. The tuner does its thing, and then you can see the power coming back up as it does it. So LDG tunes by the RTS, and the other where MFJ, when theirs were off the tuner port, they actually dropped the power just like it does in the with the internal tuner. And then they tuned it low power and then brought the power back up after the tuning was done. But the unfortunate thing is right now that there's no easy way to use the internal tuner button on your to operate an external tuner. But you can hook an external tuner to it, and then you push the button on the tuner, and it does it. So because I've been playing games with it, and I did pick up an LDG tuner cheap down at Wilkes-Barre, so I've been playing with it on my 710 to see how it is. Of course, they got LDG makes a number of them that'll work with the Yaesus, but they all go in, well, just like for the 891. That goes into the RTS also, but an MFJ will work off an 891 because it's they use the tuner control off of that. So, but anyway, oh yeah, the other thing, what I turned that around to show you, just make sure on the back you've got 3 jacks. They're all the same diameter. When you're plugging stuff in, watch where you're plugging it in. I don't know what'll happen, but the one is for the speaker. Okay, the remote and the ALC. So we know we got ALC on the tip if it's set for linear. On the sleeve of the plug, we've got the RTS, so that'll kick your push to talk. The grounds are shorts up. Then over here, you got the key. We know what happens if you push the key. That'll kick your transmit. So, so just be sure of what jack you plug into. So if you
Labels or cables?
yep. So just can save you some problems. So
You're gonna have 4 of the same rigs for the QSL party?
no, two of these, FT450D and the FT897.
Okay. Now, can technicians operate, I'd like to say, invite technicians up to operate alongside.
Oh, yeah,
General.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with us, and believe it or not, you know, you typically you hear for the contests and what have you, stay in the general portion of the band.
Sure.
No, you don't have to. I was working the PA QSO contest last week, and I was working down the extra portion of the band. Because some of the guys, you know, some of us extras, if we don't want all the clutter on the end, we'll go down to the end of the band that we can go where the rest of you characters can't. You know, if you're operating from home, but you're up here, there's a number of us who got the extra class license, so you're
You're covered.
we're watching to make sure you're not goofing up, so you can do it. But no, technicians, anybody that wants, this is a good way for them to get the hang of it. Come on up and the thing is that with these here, now when we do the stuff up here with Bera, we have a good time at it. It's not a push and shove type of thing. I can remember years ago with this club, years back, You went, there, and if you didn't have a general class license or higher, you were looked down on. And, then there was preferential treatment given to some of the people that got in the shack and they got to operate a good portion of the day. Well, then if they got tired, well, then you might be able to sit down and operate. And, well, needless to say that over the years, those ways have gone by the wayside. And, so,
You pointed out a good thing, because last year, we didn't set out to win. We set out to have a good time.
Yep.
Oh my gosh,
Yep.
that's the first time I was
Yep.
on the
A
radio.
good time, and I think having 4 stations out in the air gives us the strength.
I got a kick,
Oh, my.
I got a kick out of Diane though. She really got into it.
I'm gonna stop the
And
recording.
I can remember because you were sitting in the corner of the computer room and the